Hello, everybody, and welcome to Thrive Hive Live, where we're spending 21 weeks learning some nuts and bolts of building our business with clarity and confidence to get to clients. And we are on week 20 of 21. We're just about wrapping this series up. And today we're talking about managing your capacity. So, making sure that you're being able to take time for yourself, your family, and all those other things as well. If you're joining us, please drop a note in the comments. Let me know you're here, where you are, and what you're building. And even if you're not joining us live, I'd love to be able to follow up in the comments through the replays to see what is going on out there. So please do drop a comment. And also, comments is really our chance to get social. This live format's a little bit different. I can't see your faces, but I can see your comments. And so I love that. But also, it's an opportunity for you to get to know each other because Thrive Hive is really all about community and supporting each other because when we have the collective wisdom in the room, that's a lot of wisdom and a lot more things happen. So please do comment, share, connect with each other, and let's make this as much of a group conversation as we can. I see Mr. Seaton is in the room. Yay! All right. And also, just so you know, the description to this event includes a couple links for you. One is a course workbook. Let me go ahead and pull that guy up right now. Ooh, ooh. So you can go and grab this workbook. And actually, you get a bonus this week because I decided there's only one more week, but I am done creating workbooks. So the download is both this week workbook and next week workbook. So you get 2 for 1 on that. So you can find the link to download that and to the assessment, which is really a way to say what are your missing pieces. Because I know as myself, like there's maybe 3 of these boxes that represent different nuts and bolts that I was pretty confident in or competent in both. But there's a lot I really didn't know yet either. And so the assessment is a way to kind of gauge where you are with your knowledge on all of these different things it takes to build a successful business. All right, I think I got all these things out of the way. Sorry, my notes are over here. No, it's a little bit distracting, but I'll try to keep it to a minimum. But let's go ahead and pull up the workbook and get started. So yeah, today we are talking about managing, oops, that's the wrong thing. The workbook, Vicki. There we go. Managing your capacity. And really, this is about answering the question of what would happen in your business if you had to step away? Would you still have momentum? Would your clients still get served? And we're going to go even a little bit deeper than that because early on in starting our businesses, we put so much time into client acquisition. But then what happens when actual clients come in? Do we just drop that because we don't have time? So we'll answer, or at least start to answer many of those questions, looking at how we can make sure we're guarding our capacity, but still getting the things that need to get done in order to make the business thrive and to keep clients happy. All right, so moving on to page 2, it really starts with that question of, um, of what is capacity? Like we're talking about how to manage your capacity, but what does that mean? And the thing is, it's not just your time, but I know for myself, like energy and cognitive load, those are 2 big ones for me. So time is true, but some days I may only spend 6 hours, but my energy and cognitive load kind of crash because as solopreneurs, we're making decisions a lot. We're talking a lot. We're doing a lot of high energy things. And so we want to make sure that we're able to lean in and protect those in meaningful ways. And I saw that Cheryl joined as well. Hello. All right. So really thinking about, what is capacity, it's not just the hours in a day. How are your energy levels? Are you able to keep your thoughts together? And, we'll dig a little bit deeper on like, how can we preserve some of this so that we're showing up as our best selves for the business? All right. So I know, and I've seen this over and over, even before I started, the Thrive Hive business. Had started observing this in myself, but many of the people that I came across, and that's the self-sufficiency trap, especially if we're truly solopreneurs, because that's kind of ingrained into the title. It's like I'm solo, I'm doing it all myself. However, even as solopreneurs, we do have other options. And so hopefully by the end of this course, you'll start to see some ways out of that self-sufficiency trap. And I'll say, like, I really started to recognize it for me. I have a little story here about, stretch, don't strangle. And that's because as I was showing up to networking and I was listening to people, I was like, oh, you have to go to networking meetings. Oh, you have to post every day. Oh, you have to engage in things. And like all of these things just snowballing until like all three of time, energy, and cognitive load just totally crashed. And there was about a month there where everything just kind of fell apart. But I came out of that going, you know what? I need to do a better job of protecting my capacity, of my time, of my energy, of my cognitive load. And what does that look like for me? And I also had to recognize that part of that was saying, okay, well, if this sales coach says that this is the goal, and I can't reach that goal and still stay true to myself, that's okay. It just means my results might not be the same as hers. And that's a decision I get to make. So, one thing I want you to keep in mind, especially as you're getting advice from everybody under the sun that you're talking to on building a business, and hopefully you are talking to people, is to have a little discernment on what you take on and making sure that it aligns with what you do. All right, so now here comes the big question. I'll just throw it up there for a second, let you think about it. But if you're early stage, you may not have a client yet, or it's pretty low. But then the question becomes, now you're starting to get clients. What about all of those other things? And you may think like, oh, once I have the clients, I don't need to worry about it. So I'll just throw a caution out there now that I've heard from solopreneurs, entrepreneurs throughout the lands that it can be a mistake to completely take your foot off the gas of all those things that you're bringing your clients, because many times their projects, or even if it is an ongoing engagement, they drop. And so we want to make sure that, with all of our managing our capacity and our time, that we have time both for the clients that we have and will have, and for the things that we do that help bring them in the door. So just something to think about, and a couple of questions within the workbook that will help you get there. All right, so we're solopreneurs. What are we supposed to do? And the funniest thing happened about 20 minutes ago. I was all ready for the session. I popped open my email. It's like, oh, okay, I'll check in because I'm early. And I had this email from my coach, and she's helping me with client acquisition. And I'll go ahead and post it as a comment. I'm hoping it shows up for you. And I think I can. Oh, it went to LinkedIn Live. So here we go. So, hi, Vicki. Freedom doesn't come from doing more. It comes from doing less of the wrong thing. Delegation is a leadership skill, not a luxury. CIO insight. If you're doing everything, you're slowing um, your business down. Choose one recurring task, delegate it. Admin, scheduling, editing, follow-ups. Christine Campbell Raven. So I just found it so ironic that here I am getting ready to talk about delegating and taking care of our business. And then I got this great email from my coach on the topic. So I hired her because I like how she thinks. So with that, talk about what are the options. And there's really a couple things that we have to look at here. And one is, let's see if this works. And so one is, what are the things that we're doing, and then what can we do about it? So we'll go into a little bit more about how to choose here in a second. But I wanted to show that when it comes to those things that we're doing, there's really four different choices we have to make. So let's think of something. Maybe it's uh, following up on follow-ups from calls that you have. And so if that's taking a lot of time, then you can start to think about, well, how can I do better on follow-ups? How can I have that take less of my capacity? And so optimizing is one thing we can do. What are some ways we can streamline it? Are there steps that I don't actually need to be doing? Are there tools that can help me do it, which actually gets into the next one. But really looking at, okay, well, what am I doing? What are the steps? And what can I do to make this smoother? And so that's one way we can get started. And then I kind of dipped into the next one, and that's tooling it. So is there a tool that's going to help you with this task so that it can be done faster and it's efficient? I'll have an example for you on that in just a second. Or is this something that maybe it's time to outsource? And a few things go into outsourcing. One, if it's something you don't love doing, and it's taking you away from things that you do love doing, now we have something that's might be a good candidate for outsourcing. Also, if it's not really your wheelhouse, if somebody else can do it better, somebody else can do it faster, then that's a time to start thinking about outsourcing. And one common outsourcing option we see a lot of people taking today is hiring the virtual admins or VAs. And that can be a great way to go. I will say, I've heard a lot of people say, oh, my VA didn't work out for me. And what I'm learning is that if you have a very specific task and you find the right person for the task, it works better than I want a VA to just handle my admin for me. Because typically they don't have, they're better at specializing than they are at general stuff. If it's general stuff, you might want an online business manager, and that's a whole different story. Yeah, let me know. I have a couple I can introduce you to, but outsourcing it again is another way you could go. And here's one that almost didn't make the cut, but drop it. Look at the things that you're doing and say, um, do I really need to be doing this or not? And if it's not adding to the outcomes you're trying to achieve, if it's not helping you bring in clients or helping you save time or helping you, do things in other ways, then maybe it doesn't need to be done. And one of the things you can look at is I mentioned the assessment that we have. It's also that same bubble I pulled up just a few minutes ago. But you can look at like the 21 steps and say, well, of these things, what am I spending a lot of time on that doesn't feel like it's working right? And then we can figure out, okay, well, is it not working right because of how I'm doing it, or that I'm even doing it, or how I'm getting that done? And so that's one way to just kind of like we're all doing activities across these 21 different things, give or take. So that's a good way to just kind of do a quick inventory on where are you. All right. And then I wanted to get into that fear of spending because, I get it. I'm a bootstrapping solopreneur. When I first launched my business after, leaving corporate, it was pretty scary. And I did make spending decisions. I still do. Like I said, I just hired a new coach recently. But there's that fear of spending. But the truth is, we have to invest in our businesses and ourselves in order to get going. The question is, how do you make the right decisions? And because of my background in financial analysis and business analysis, it's pretty easy for me to dig and try to understand what is the return on investment. If I spend this money, how much am I going to get back out of it? And if that's something you want to learn more about, please reach out to me. I have tools. I'm always happy to talk ad nauseum on this topic. But really thinking about, okay, in order to make money, I'm going to have to spend a little bit. And so one of the things that I bought probably about 6 months ago now was a $50 a month subscription to Surf, SURFE. And what that is, it's a Chrome extension that sits on top of LinkedIn that automatically connects my LinkedIn connections to HubSpot. And it even sends the direct messages over there. So why is this big? Like when I saw that opportunity, I'm like, wow, $50 a month. And I'm like, but that's the thing that means I can delay hiring a VA right now. Or if I hire a VA, I can put onto um, a more meaty or beneficial kind of thing. And so all of a sudden, it's like, okay, yes, it's money, but it's saving me so much time. It's taking away a bunch of data redundancy and all of those things. So yes, that was a clean win for me. And when it comes to coaching is another thing. That was a hard one for me as well because it is an investment, but at the same time my business wasn't growing in the way that I know it can. And so I had to step out of self and say, okay, I'm really smart and I have a lot of smart people around me. And one of those really smart people around me said, hey, let me introduce you to somebody because I think she's exactly the fit for what you need, and making the decision that yes, the return on investment will come from this. And so I'm going to do that. All right. Let's see. See, Patrick's been commenting, but I won't distract us too much. Um, but thinking about, what you can do to delegate, to dump, or to optimize is thinking about those recurring things that you do on a regular basis. Like every week you do these things. And just quickly step through and put them into these categories. Is this a optimize it? Is this a excuse me, I'm going to cough here in a second. Is it optimize? Is it tool it? Is it delegate? Bring in somebody else. Hold on one second. Uh, Sorry about that, but at least I didn't cough in your ear. And yeah, this is just a way to start thinking through what are some of those things. And then, when it comes to the delegate, how do you delegate? Thinking about it, return on investment is one way to look at it. Getting into some bartering or partnerships is one way. And we had one Thrive Hive member that he went to the local university or school, and it's like, bring on the interns. Now, I will say he ended up with free labor, but also you get what you pay for. So, it took a little bit of effort for him to find like the right intern for the right task and to get, real momentum on that. But it is an option that's out there as well. All right. So moving on to part three. This is kind of my favorite part, and this is where I'm at right now. And that's moving from functional to fantastic. And what that means is often, I can do a lot of things pretty well, and bring AI into the mix. That helps. I can do a lot of things pretty well. But there's only a few things that I do really well. And so looking at how can I free up my capacity, but still really get to a polished state that feels professional and something I can be proud of. And that's kind of where I am with this series, honestly. I did these 21 LinkedIn lives, created these 21 workbooks. I'm proud of the content. I think it's pretty great. I will go through and scrub it for opportunities to improve, and I've gotten some feedback that will help. But visually, you know what? It's not fantastic. And so now is the time for me to kind of step back and say, all right, so, what are we going to do about that? And the answer for me is one of three things: a designer, a copy editor, or both, to kind of bring these to a state that now I'm really proud of it, but also will be more appealing to other people. And so that's one area where, saving our capacity may be turning the polishing of the apple over to somebody else who can do it better. And it's a form of delegation, but something totally worth thinking about. Hold on. Now, I did want to talk about whether it's hiring somebody to delegate or hiring somebody for this extra, like from functional to fantastic. And when it comes to hiring somebody to help you with these things, I'm going to tell you the mistake I made. I don't know if it was a mistake, the route I took a year ago that I would do differently now. And that was, I was so new to this. My network was not huge. I definitely had, some people in there, but not a lot of specialists across a lot of different areas. And coming from a government background, I'm like, I'll do a request for proposal. That's how you get help. And so I packaged up a request for proposal, sent it to a few people. I did end up hiring somebody who was a great assistance to me, really helped me refine my messaging and understand how social media works and all of that stuff. However, now I have this huge, rich network. And when it comes to those other things I'm talking about, there are people top of mind that I can reach out to and not go through that process. I already have relationships. I already know, like, and trust. Because as I was building a network in order to find clients for Thrive Hive or Beyond Aligned Books, whichever side of the house it was, I was also learning who could support me in my future needs. And so when it comes to like finding that help, uh, you know, using your network is huge. Partially because again, you're starting to build that know, like, trust. It goes both ways, but also they have a network, and so even if they, um, maybe you're not maybe they don't have room to take on a client right now, but they know other people that do the same thing. And so it's funny because way back when I did the RFP, I did a whole blog article like the RFP is the way to go. More people should do that. Blah, blah, blah. And I'm completely reverse course because the longer I'm in business, the more I learn. And that's not going to stop today, by the way. I'm going to be learning a year from now, and I'm still going to be paying it forward because every time I show up in any room, but especially Thrive Hive with my members there, I'm always learning something new along the way. All right, so what am I forgetting to tell you here? Um, as far going back to this from functional to fantastic, I would encourage you to think through what are you doing now that you really wish you could take to the next level. Maybe it's a nurturing sequence. Maybe it's a landing page. And if these terms aren't landing with you, then there's some other videos that explain a little bit more, or even just your website. And start to think about what would fantastic do for you. What would be the return on investment? So if you were to be able to grab more people's attention with the content or the images, how would that help your business? And start to think about ways um, to kind of move that forward without draining your capacity, which again is a form of delegation. So with that, this is one of our shorter ones so far. I think that is all the content I have for managing your capacity. But again, it's really making sure that you're saving your time, your energy, and your mental load so that you can take care of yourself, take care of your clients, and continue to grow your business. And sometimes that means we have to spend a little money. Sometimes it's for a tool. Sometimes we don't have to spend money. Sometimes it's just like updating a process and talking to other people. How do you manage to do X, Y, Z? It's like, ooh, I never thought of that. And that's kind of where having the community and being able to talk about these things out loud is a huge benefit. All right, so with that, so we will meet one more week. Next week is step 21, which is really about making your business sustainable, making it just hum without you all of the time. And spoiler alert, we're going to dip into the E-Myth, which is a great book, and you'll learn more about that. But before we close, I wanted to remind you that we do have community, and we still have our offer of 45-day free trial. But even more important than that, the assessment is in the description. And so that's a great way to figure out, oh, what nuts and bolts am I maybe missing from my toolkit here that might help me go further. So I hope you'll give that a try, and feel free to reach out to me at any time. And do remember to share in the comments, meet each other, and I look forward to seeing you one final time for the series. Probably not the final time ever, maybe for a while, but not forever. But we'll come back next week with more. Thank you.